Welcome to Adobe Illustrator CC 2021, Classroom in a Book, Chapter 3, which is all about using shapes to create artwork for a postcard. Let's go ahead and go into our Illustrator. And we're actually going to start from a new document today. So let's go File and New. And let's go ahead and choose the Print category up here at the top. From here, let's go ahead and select Letter. Now let's go ahead and change that preset details. We're going to go ahead and call this Postcard. And instead of points, I want to change it to inches. And for width, let's go ahead and change it to smaller for a postcard. So we want 6 inches. And I'm going to do tab. And my height, I'm going to do 6. Nope, height's 4.25, sorry. And my orientation is landscape. I only need one artboard today. And that's all I need. So let's go ahead and say create. Let's do a file save as. Make sure you find your lesson 3 folder. Let's change it to first initial last name underscore Adobe Illustrator Classroom in a Book, chapter number 3, and save. All right, so, and okay. If you made a mistake in your document setup, you can always go back instead of starting over. Let's go ahead and go to document setup, which is in our properties. Let's make sure we're in the same thing. So window and workspace, let's go reset our essentials, make sure we're all in the same place. I'm going to go here to my document setup. That will allow me to change things if I do need to make some small changes. So I want to go ahead and add a bleed. I want my bleed to be all the same. So I make sure this is all settings the same. And let's go ahead and set that to 0.125. It's going to make a red line appear around the outside. And let's say OK. And so now I've got a bleed. Let's go View, Fit Artboard and Window. And that bleed tells me how far to go outside the lines to make sure that when it's printed, it will have color on all the edges. All right, so now we're going to work with some basic shapes. Shapes are composed of anchor points and paths that connect them. And those paths can be open or they're closed. If they're open, we have endpoints, but we can still fill them with colors and gradients and patterns. So the first thing we're going to do is create the bowl to contain the fruit. So to create the bowl, we're going to go ahead and grab our rectangle tool over on our toolbar. And I want to go ahead and press and create a rectangle that's taller than it is wide. Go ahead about that big. We're going to go ahead and play with this quite a bit, so don't worry about it too much. We're going to move the pointer over the small dot here in the middle. It's called the center point widget, which allows us to drag it. So we can go ahead and just drag it to about the center-ish of the page. All right, from there, we want to go ahead and create another rectangle at the bottom, which is going to be the base of our bowl. So let's go ahead and draw a rectangle about 1 inch wide and about 0.01 inches tall. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not too worried. If you do want to make it perfect, you can go ahead in your properties panel and adjust that accordingly. All right, and enter. So now I've adjusted that. All right, so let's go ahead and take this and center it in our page. So you can kind of see it's centered in the one right now. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my rulers, make sure nothing's selected, and turn those rulers on just so I can kind of see a little bit better what's going on. So we know the middle of our page is going to be 3. So you can actually click and drag a guide over to 3. So you have kind of a better idea as to what the middle is. All right, let's go ahead and do a Control S and save. So now you're saying this isn't a bowl, this is a vase. So let's go ahead and edit those shapes to make something else. So let's go ahead and grab that big shape. And we're going to go ahead and grab the pointer over the top of the middle. And we can actually change both sides at once. So let's drag up to make it a little bit taller. And if we hold Option or Alt while we do this, it's actually going to grow it from top to bottom. So it's kind of a nice way to adjust that. So we want it to be about 3 inches or so. Good enough. Let go of my mouse, let go of my key. And now I want to go ahead and rotate it. So I can rotate by just going outside, or I can hold the Shift key as I do it, and it's going to move it in 45-degree increments. And we want it to be about 270. So let's go ahead and release the mouse, release the Shift key. And now let's go ahead and our transform. Make sure that our maintain is not selected. And let's go ahead and type for height. We want to go ahead and make it 0.75 and tab, make it a little bit skinnier. So that makes it so it doesn't do it proportionally. Now let's go ahead and fill that color. So let's add some color, do fill, and let's go ahead and grab kind of a light brown. Isn't that gorgeous? All right, so now I've got part of my box. Let's hit escape to hide that swatches. So let's go ahead and go to my stroke color. And my stroke color, we're going to go ahead and take the stroke off. So I'm going to hit none. And there we go. Hit escape, hide that one. Pasteboard, Control S and save. And now we're going to go ahead and round the corners of this rectangle to make it into a bowl. So we're going to go ahead and click the, oh, we want a smaller one. So let's do a smaller one. And let's go ahead and zoom in. So we can do view and zoom if you like to do it that way. I like Control Plus. I think it's easier. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and we want the live corner widgets. So these live corner widgets will make it so that you can make something round, but we don't necessarily want to make all of them round. So as soon as you bring it in all the way till it's a red arc, that means that's as far as it's going to go. So let's go ahead and let go. Let's go to our properties panel. Let's go to more options under transform. So our little ellipse is here. It's going to give us a few different options. We want link corner radius to be on. So we've got these corner radiuses here. We want that to be selected. And let's go ahead and change the individual corners. So we're going to change the individual corners to be, oh, we already made it as much as it'll already go. But you can see that you can change those all together at once. All right, so we've got, let's go for corner type. For the bottom corners, let's choose this one, which is actually called a chamfer, and make both of our bottom corners into those. All right, we can go ahead and escape out of the panel. And let's go ahead and fill it. Let's go ahead and fill it with a slightly darker color. It's our base color. And let's go ahead and set our stroke, escape. Let's get our stroke to none and escape. And let's go select and deselect. I'm going to Control S to save. All right, so now we need to round the individual corners on our bowl that's up above. So let's go ahead and roll up. I'm going to do a Control minus, zoom out, and grab my space bar in my hand. Let's pan up a little bit. So now we want to make sure that we make this actually start to look like a bowl. So let's click with our selection tool. Let's click on the large panel, and we've got our live corner widgets. Now, once again, if I pull these in, my entire bowl is going to get round, which I don't necessarily want. So let's go ahead and grab our direct selection tool. And with that, we're going to click in the lower left corner, and it'll allow us just to change that one corner. So let's do the same for the right. Oh, cancel. And go ahead and bring it into the right. So that's exactly what we want. And there's a few different ways to do that. You also could have gone to that little thing that opened when let's do this from this way. So here is another way to go ahead and change those corners at all, or as well. So this is your corner, this is your rounding. That first one means absolute. It will be exactly what you said it is, or it'll be a relative. So it's based on the angle of the corner point. So go ahead and push cancel just so you can see where it is. All right, so we've got our bowl. Let's do our view and our fit artboard and window. Let's go ahead and select out and do a Control S and save. So I'm going to go ahead and break this one before we start drawing some of the fruit itself. So we'll see you on the next video.